Favorite sci-fi movie? Look, it's hard. I mean, I like The Matrix because of the theme it has. The movie was well done. Fantastic storyline. Um, but Interstellar is probably the most scientifically accurate film. And because of its accuracy, it was even better, I think. But the story sucked. The story was shitty. But the accuracy was so amazing. So it depends. I also like Back to the Future for the classicness, the classiness of it. Um, Back to the Future 1 and 2. Um, it's just so like genuine and real. Such a good movie. I was too stupid for Interstellar. I was lost in the movie. Watch my videos on TikTok where I explain everything. Once you understand the movie, the movie's so much better. I knew you couldn't defeat Dean. What do you mean? Yes, I do love Black Mirror. Yes, I like it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can I get an explanation to why an infinite regress of contingency is not impossible? I mean, yeah, it's not impossible.
Well, when you say something's impossible, it typically means that there's some kind of logical contradiction, right? It defies three of the laws of thought.
Yeah.
So to me, there's no logical inconsistency in an infinite regression.
The issue of there not being a start or that the chain of contingency exists at all.
There doesn't need to be a start. Nothing like time doesn't even need to pass necessarily. Like the B theory of time, we recognize that there is no motion of time. There's no like passage of time. All the time kind of is just there.
But time is not something physical or.
It could be. It is, right? Like this is the point of relativity. When you view time as a dimension, a physical dimension, just like space is, such that it's always like just like all the space is out there, all the time would be out there.
But this is not. Only space and time are and ideas exist apart. They have a separation between things that are otherwise considered physical. I don't know how to explain this. They're not physical in the same way as something you can see or feel or have any realistic effect on something.
Well, yeah, but there's different ways to be physical. But the point is that logically speaking, mathematically speaking, there's no issue with an infinite regression of time at all.
What is infinite regress fallacy? Is this not a fallacy at all?
No.
Okay.
It's not a fallacy.
I'll search more. Thanks.
Why do photons not gain mass in the Higgs field? Good question. Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, how can I help?
Okay, hey, I just want to say kudos to Dog Walk and what was it, Dean and Parker the other day. Dean is a little kid, man. He childish.
I don't want to talk about other people, but yeah, thank you. Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
Yeah. Hey, so I know you're a big animal advocate. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you own any dogs?
What?
Do you own any dogs?
No, I don't have any pets.
You don't have any pets? Okay. How do you feel about e-collars?
What? E-collars?
Yeah, e-collars. They're essentially a shock collar. They're not called that anymore, but they're e-collars. They're for dog training.
Yeah, look, I think that if they're unnecessary, I think that's a bad thing to do, right? I would never put a shock collar on a person. So why would I put it on a dog? That's how I see it.
Okay. So
Okay.
I have a dog, and I was chopping up with my neighbor last week, and I was saying what a good dog it is, and he's like,
Have a
it's
good
not that
day.
good of a dog.
Have a good day. I can't do that. Okay. Yeah. So they definitely don't. Interestingly, yeah. Why is that, Blitz? Why is it that photons and some particles don't gain mass or don't have mass? Is it just like something unknown? It probably has to do with string theory, right? It has to do with like string or some quantum gravity idea.
I just came up just to explain this bit. It's actually a good question, and it has to do with how electroweak theory actually behaves. Electroweak theory being kind of the merged version of the electromagnetic force and the weak nuclear force. The basic gist is something like this. Prior to spontaneous symmetry breaking in the early universe, the universe is very, very hot. Prior to like the Higgs mechanism kind of freezing out, you have electromagnetism and the weak nuclear force. They were one thing. And you can basically count how many force-carrying particles made up the electroweak field. It was 4. Because it's SU2 cross U1, you can count the degrees of freedom, and there's 4. And so what the Higgs mechanism does is it basically breaks that symmetry down into 2 separate pieces. And in doing so, 3 of those 4 acquire mass. And so the one that doesn't require mass, the one that doesn't acquire mass is the photon. That's just the name that we give to the one that doesn't acquire mass.
Interesting.
The electromagnetic force and the weak nuclear force are basically the same otherwise. It's just the weak nuclear force, its force carriers have mass. Otherwise, there's something called the Z boson, which is a neutral particle, carries the weak nuclear force, but basically the only way it's different from the photon is that it has mass, and so it doesn't travel as far, so the force it carries is significantly weaker. So it's almost definitional that the photon is definitionally the part of the electroweak force that doesn't have mass.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, anyway. It's easier to explain over voice than over text.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, I wish I knew more about like quantum gravity and shit. And I mean, not quantum gravity, but quantum mechanics, so I can explain it better. But yeah, appreciate you. So if you guys didn't understand that, supersymmetry has to do with like, well, superforce. There was a superforce in the early Big Bang, right? What this means is all the physical forces we know today were basically the same thing. You couldn't distinguish them mathematically. Not supersymmetry. Yeah, I know. It was called a superforce. So all the mechanisms that give rise to the particles and everything, they were all essentially the same, and mathematically speaking, and that's what happened after the universe expanded. It cooled, allowing them to kind of break apart. So I think in the early universe, no particles haven't had mass. Is that correct, Blitz? Nothing had mass. It was just like momentum and radiation. I can never break apart from you. Yep, except maybe neutrinos. Yeah, exactly. So in the early universe, pretty much nothing had mass until the universe broke apart. Kind of like an ice cube that suddenly freezes or breaks apart. You hear it cracking whenever you freeze it. Kind of like that, right? Because it freezes too fast or too quickly for the particles to kind of like that. But thank you, Blitz. Appreciate you. Somebody else wants to come in. Hello? Hello?
Mike, hello?
How can I help you?
Mike, why'd you say you aren't a vegan?
What? I am. What do you mean?
You said you aren't a vegan the other day, remember?
I am. Do you have a question?
Yeah, that was my question. Are you stupid?
All right. Have a good day. Can you ask a question that's on topic? Yeah, ask away. This is a Q&A live, I guess. Okay, is the multiverse, if the multiverse theory is correct, well, first of all, the multiverse is not a theory. It's correct. All the matter energy of the universe duplicated. Well, it's not that it's duplicated. It's not like, a digital, file on a computer. But it could be that there are, if the universe is infinite, there could be parallel worlds. There's different ideas of this. There's many worlds. There's all kinds of possible hypotheses for the multiverse. But yes, there could be potentially other universes with beings like you in them. We are in a simulation where advanced beings playing a game. Well, the whole point about simulation makes me a little weary before I believe in it. It makes me a bit skeptical because, I mean, it kind of kicks the can on the road, right? Like if this is a simulation, who's the simulator, right? And are they a simulation? It goes back and back and back. I think there's no difference between that kind of idea and like an infinite universe that just is just infinitely existing eternally. I don't see the difference between those two things. So to me, it's like simulation doesn't even really imply that there's a simulator. But you're right. The universe could be holographic. It's possible that there's a lower dimensional reality that kind of projects a 3D world that we live in. That's possible, yes. But again, asking who's behind this or who's making this? That's an entirely different question that to me really makes no sense. Because the question remains, who made that and who made that? Who made that? It's just more parsimonious for me to say, things just are eternal. That's it. What's that in the corner of the wall? That's Sagan. This is a Cosmos book. It's Brian Greene's Fabric of the Cosmos. And yeah. Let's get someone else in here. Is the Mandela effect true? No.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My question, bear with me. I don't know if you ever watched The Simpsons, but it shows a person, the Earth, the solar system, the Milky Way galaxy, so on, so on, so on, so on, and then it focuses on one single cell on Homer's hair, and then it continued. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a fractal universe, yeah.
There you go. Well, that's the best way I could ask that question. Sorry. What do you think about that?
I think it's
A
ridiculous.
A fractal, yeah.
I think it's a bit ridiculous. I think that humans look for patterns in things like if you look at the cosmic web, people go, "Oh, that's like a neuron. It looks like a neuron." I think that's just the brain making up patterns. Finding patterns that don't really exist in reality. So I think that that's a very egocentric idea to think that everything is a cell. But I mean, it's possible, logically speaking. I mean, sure, it could be possible that the universe is fractal, but I think it's just a bit ridiculous to believe.
Because I'm sorry I asked it to you in a fourth grade way, but if you look at the planet and the solar system and everything, and it looks like cells in a person. you know, or in anything else.
That's what I just, yeah, exactly. That it looks like that to a person who doesn't understand that patterns don't necessarily come from reality. They come from the brain. The brain, everything you see doesn't come from the real world. It comes from your brain, right? Everything you hear, the entire map of your reality comes from your brain. So in my view, there's nothing about reality, the external world, that necessarily or intrinsically has patterns in it. I think that that's just what the brain does to make sense of it. But I could be wrong. I mean, obviously I could be wrong. But again, this idea, it's cute, but I think there's no merit behind it.
Okay. Can I ask another one? Do you think aliens ever land on Earth?
Do I think aliens landed on the Earth?
In our
No,
lifetime?
I don't know.
Like in the 60s?
It's possible, but I don't know why they would want to be here. I mean, they have an entire universe full of stuff to deal with. Why would they want to be here? To me, if aliens exist, they're probably way more smart than we are. And if that's the case, we have nothing for them. It's like, it would be like a person talking to an ant, right? Like, hey, ant, I'm here. I give you technology. Like, the ant, we can't talk to ants. So what we do is typically observe microbes and ants. We don't, from afar. We don't really, talk to them. We don't try to mingle with them. So I think if aliens exist, they probably are looking at us. They probably know we exist, but they probably haven't been here.
Well, yeah, wouldn't we kind of be like the top 6 of the galaxy? Kind of the ghetto.
We would be the microbes of the universe. Yes, we are very dumb beings.
The ghetto, yeah. Okay, my bad. You can kick me, please. I'm.
We are basically the clowns of the Milky Way. Earth is a circus of the Milky Way. Okay. Do you think life only has meaning if it's eternal? No, I think meaning is utterly subjective. Look, even if God exists, what's God's meaning? Right? This question can be asked infinitely, ad infinitum. The point is, meaning does not need to be intrinsic. It could be subjective to humans.
Good morning or good evening. I'm not exactly sure what time it's at your place. Glad to have the opportunity to talk to you, Mike. I do have a question that I'm not exactly sure in what category I should place it. It's regarding basically it's about gravity and the way it's actually seen as we see it in the experiment with the sheet of I don't know, not of paper, but on the space-time continuum, basically. I'm not exactly sure. English is not my first language, so I'm trying to explain it as well as I can. The bend in the fabric of time, as we see it in the experiment, I'm sure you know what I mean by this, is downwards. But in space, we have this basically in all directions.
Right.
Okay, but what happens when two objects that do that bend in the space-time, the two bends interact with each other? I hope I can make myself clear. Because since, for instance, let's take the sun as an example, okay? And the sun has a big enough mass for that bend to interact with the bend of the planets that are orbiting around it. Do you understand what I'm trying to explain?
Yeah, that's a bit inaccurate, but yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, it's a bit hard for me because I don't understand this concept myself. This is why I'm asking you, and maybe you can make it a bit clearer for me. What exactly is the influence in if you see the two bends that interact with each other?
I don't quite get it, but I think you're asking what happens if the warping is strong enough with two objects. Is that really kind of asking? If that's the case, they'll collide with each other.
Okay,
Right.
so basically they'll just so it's basically just the gravity itself that is pulling two objects towards each other. So it's just
Yeah, look, mass is what warps space and time, right?
yeah,
Anything with mass is going to have a warping all around it, 360,
okay,
not just two dimensionally, all around it.
yeah, exactly.
So the point is, everything is moving through space and time, and kind of in a straight line. But everything with mass is kind of bending that space time fabric. So things are moving, and they're geodesics. They're called. They kind of intersect with other objects. So if that's the case, if the gravity's warped enough, they will collide with each other. That's literally what collisions mean. That's all. I think this is a very. I don't think I really understood your question entirely, though.
It's kind of hard for me to explain it through words because I think it's easier. Imagine this scenario. So just take the sheet of I don't know the sheet from your bed, for instance, okay, and you pull it on a frame, and you place the object that represents the sun in the middle. Okay, so you have the bend in the space.
Okay.
Okay, now that is just one plane. But from the center of the sun, you'll have a similar bend in all directions, correct?
The sun? Yeah, the sun will bend space and time in all
Yeah.
directions around
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So if it's the same thing with the sun, it'll be the same thing with Earth or with Mars or with any other planet. But I think I did get my answer because the moment when two of these bends interact with each other, what basically happens is exactly gravity. Basically, it keeps the planet round and round the center.
Look, they'll collide or they'll go into this stable orbit between each other. Kind of like, in fact, most stars in our Milky Way galaxy are binary, which means that there's two of them orbiting around each other, kind of like in a weird way. So there's all kinds of possibilities. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Sir,
Hi,
hi. How are you?
great.
So you consider yourself a science guy, right?
Yeah,
Right. What I wanted just to say that like, if you're the science guy, like, how do you think that we came to existence without God? What's your
we
explanation of
didn't
that?
we
Huh?
didn't come into existence. It's not that we just popped into
No.
existence from
How
nowhere.
come? How we are here if there's no God?
Yeah, well, how was God here, right? We can ask the same question. How was God there? Where did God come from?
God
But
didn't come. God was always there.
okay, then maybe we were always there, right? Maybe we always existed. And the things we see around us, trees, cars, planes, earth, stars, maybe those are the products of cosmic evolution, small changes over time.
Could be.
Maybe we're just part of this big chaotic universe.
Could be, but I feel like if we exist, right, based on a lot of things that is happening around the world, um, God has to be real. That's my personal belief. But again, I'm not gonna change yours belief. Also, second is that do you believe that Islam is also like not a true religion as well? You said religion is not true, right?
I don't believe in any religions. I think
Would you consider Islam as well?
yeah, it's just as bad as all the other mythological religions.
Oh. And third is that like one time I heard you saying on live that like there's more than two genders. Were you joking about that or were you serious? A lot of people joke about that. So
No, the fact of the matter is there are many different genders. Gender is just a way to you identify in society. It's societal.
I feel like that you're a very smart guy. I mean, I can pick that up that you're a smart guy and but if you're trying to spread this information, right? Trying to manipulate people or brainwash people that there's multiple genders.
Well,
And
look, well,
there's more than two genders.
look. What
I
do you
think
think gender means?
you know
Look,
what
what do you
you know
think?
what you're trying to do.
Look, what do you think gender means?
Male and female. XY and XX chromosome.
That's wrong. That's incorrect. Now we know that there are different neurochemical ways that people think about themselves. It gives rise to their identity, and some people
Well, that's a
some
little
people don't identify. Hold on. Some people don't identify as a male or female. Maybe sometimes people identify as both. They're binary. Sometimes people identify half and half, or most of the time this one, and the other time this one. There are different ways in society to identify and to be called, right? Some people don't want to be called. Let's say you're born a man. Some people don't want to be called a man. They want to be called a woman, and that's why we care about gender.
Oh no, but
Because
that's different what they want to be called. But at the end, you're not. Let me ask you
that's
this
what gender
because
means. That's all gender means. That's
let
really
me
all
ask you
gender means.
what color are your eyes?
Brown.
No, but what if you say that no, it's not brown. I don't identify it as brown. I say it's blue.
Not
What if you
analogous.
start saying that it's blue?
It's
Then
analogous.
then
This is
should
disanalogous.
people start identifying it as blue?
No, you're confusing sex for
No, no,
gender.
no, no. Answer my question.
You're
No,
malformed
answer my
question. It's
question.
a
Yes or
malformed.
no?
It's a malformed question because
No,
gender. No, let me
it's a
speak.
very logical
Let me
question.
speak. Let me speak.
Oh, go ahead.
Gender is not sex. Sex, I agree with you, is biological. It's either you have a penis or you don't. However,
Yeah,
gender
that's true.
gender is different. Gender is neurochemical. Your brain is what determines how you identify in society, how you sexually feel about others. That's
Well, that's
neurochemical.
different. That's like a man can be attracted to a man. That doesn't mean that he's a,
Exactly,
but
exactly.
that doesn't mean that he's a girl,
That is sexuality that
right?
comes from the brain. That's something that's not biological in terms of
Right? But
our chromosomes.
at the end,
You have to listen. You have to listen. You have to listen.
I'm listening. I heard your point of view,
Sex is chromosomal. It depends on your chromosomes.
which is gender.
No, there's a difference.
Sex and gender, you're saying is different?
Yes. Welcome to 2024, sir. We have now learned since 1960.
Sex,
Gender is neurochemical. Sex is chromosomal. That's the difference. Do you understand?
I thought sex and gender is same. I mean,
No, that was what they thought 50, 60 years ago. We have now since learned that neurochemically, we can in fact see this. We can
50,
see
60
transgender people's
years.
brains.
But if I go to
There's different sexes to brains. So because of this, I might be born, my exterior body might be male, but my brain is a female. In that sense, I'd be transgender, right? So this is the point
I mean
here is
that's
that
different.
there's a
It's
complexity. There's a neurochemical complexity entailed by gender that is not entailed by sex.
but
That's different.
here's my belief that if you're a guy, you're a guy. It doesn't matter who you like or love, but at the end, science cannot deny
What's
it.
a guy though? There is no objective definition of what a guy is. It depends on,
Look, I told you, a guy is a
society.
XY chromosome. Very simple. Either you want to take it or no, but you can,
If you think that you're a guy under that definition, then you're a guy.
and then
But how about
and
the
you can
other
look it up
people? How
online.
about the
What
other
is,
people
what is
out
a
there?
male? And it'll tell you
How
XY
how
chromosome.
about the other people who don't think and don't
I
follow
don't care what other
you
people
want?
think. A lot of people will think that
Well,
a lot of people think that I'm a
okay, well,
dog.
sure.
So doesn't mean I'm a dog?
I understand. No,
Doesn't mean I'm a dog. That's the same analogy.
I don't know. I don't know why this is so difficult for you guys.
lot of people think that
You're
I'm a god.
just
Supposing
steamrolling. You're just steamrolling. You have to listen. This is why you still don't understand the difference. You don't listen. You just yappity yappity yap. Gender is parts of the brain. It's what the brain is doing. That you cannot biologically see. You can't see that in your genitals. That's the point you're not getting. The point you're not getting is that
no,
gender is tied to our brain chemistry.
no.
You can't
Okay.
determine that by looking at your genitals. Do you understand?
I got what you're saying.
Okay,
I
great.
got what you're
So
saying.
the point is that there are some people who have brains that are actually female or more feminine, have more feminine traits, but they're in a male body. They have male genitals, but they have a female brain. That's what a transgender person means, right? That's the point.
I mean, I think I think personally transgender should be illegal, but that's my belief.
Why? First of all, this is wrong on many levels. I mean, what are they doing to you that's so bad that they should be legal? Number two, you're misunderstanding the science. You're misunderstanding the plethora of studies on this. We can take a look at transgender brains and see the things I'm talking to you about. We can see that the brain has different sexes and that the brain has different properties that give rise to our gender identity.
Traditionalism is silly. Things need to change for the better.
You're not listening, sir. You're just reading the comments.
No, I'm listening to what
Can you
you're
please
saying.
engage with the conversation?
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, mind my own business. I shouldn't get involved in
All
this.
right. Have a good day. Look, go learn. You guys have to go learn. That's why I'm here. I can give you study after study. You can watch my debates on YouTube where I give the studies. You can do that. You can do your own research. Go look at the studies showing how we've looked at transgender brains. We've looked at cisgender brains, and we see the difference. We see a difference, a consistent difference. And what explains this is our neurochemistry.
Hello. I just want to say, first off, I love your lives. They're very informative and very cool. A dumbed down version of the law of conservation of mass and energy. Matter and energy can be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form to another. My question is there a way to instrumentalize that like they do in Star Trek with transporter technology? And if so, how much energy would that take?
Instrumentalize in term. I haven't seen Star Wars. I don't know what you mean by that.
Star Trek. They have transporter technology where they take people or objects, convert them into energy, move that energy, and then reconstitute it into whatever it or they were.
Oh, like teleportation?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, teleportation is possible. We've done it with small particles, even molecules. But doing that on a Star Trek scale would pretty much, as far as we know, is pretty much impossible. We don't know how to do it, at least. I don't know. I wouldn't. I would have to take a deeper look into teleportation to see if it's possible on a macro scale. I don't think it is though. But it could be.
Okay. Greatly appreciate you letting me up, and thanks for answering my question.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish I could answer. Although I think Blitz is here and they're watching, and he might be able to answer it. Why do neutrinos have mass? We don't know. There are so many things we don't know, and when you learn the more you learn, the more you recognize how much we don't know. This is such an important thing to recognize. To me, it's what distinguishes someone who is scientifically literate versus scientifically illiterate. Someone who knows the boundaries between what is known and not known. Okay. 3D printing is similar. Well, 3D printing is just, taking matter and assembling it and kind of copying the configuration of particles. But teleportation is taking the same particles and beaming them to another place. That is something that we don't really know is possible on a macro scale.
Hello. So, for veganism, when like the plant doesn't absorb, what would be the point of having that diet mainly if it's not giving you many nutrients?
The plate doesn't absorb? What are you talking about? We can get all the nutrients we need as vegans. There's nothing we can't get, especially when you recognize that there's fortified foods and supplements available. There's nothing you can't get as a vegan today.
Like it doesn't get like digested and used. It's like just goes through the stool.
No, we can get all the perfectly digestible nutrients we need. We don't need to eat meat at all for anything.
So, what would be the difference between eating the stuff that comes out of you versus just eating a plant?
Eating the stuff that comes out of you. What do you mean?
Well, it's not alive anymore, and the plant is live. So, what would be the difference between what's the difference between that and the plant?
I'm sorry, I don't know I don't know what you mean, sir. I really don't know what you're talking about.
The point is that it's not nutritious, and so you're not going. It tastes bad, and also you're not going to go for that option.
What is not nutritious?
The plant, it just goes through you. It's not getting absorbed by your body to be used, most of it, versus the animal products.
Look, you're talking about bioavailability, and the difference is, the consensus amongst nutritionists is that the difference in bioavailability between plants and meat is very small. We're talking 5-10%. And in some regards, you don't want too much bioavailability when it comes to iron and things like that. So there's pros and cons. But the point is, all else equal, I can get all the nutrients I need as a vegan. I can get in all in sufficient quantities and all perfectly bioavailable quantities. I never have to resort to meat or dairy, ever.
Where do you get your omega-3s?
Beans, avocados, fruits like mangoes, berries, all have omega-3s. Nuts and seeds are full of omega-3s and 6s. Yeah.
So what's the difference between so how about Venus flytraps? Like they can, sense when something's on it.
Okay.
So do some plants have sentience?
No, I don't think any plant has sentience. There's no nervous system involved with plants. There's no brain. There's no pain receptors. Now, is it the case that plants can sense things? Of course they can sense things. So can my phone sense things. But sensing things does not equate to sentience. Sentience means emoting, emotions. It means thinking and feeling. Plants don't do that, right? They react, but they don't anticipate things. They don't feel or experience like we do.
Okay, so yeah, plants have a lot of, toxins to prevent them from being eaten, like many beans and pulses contain lectins, which are not good for humans, and this from Medical News Today.
Lectins, first of all, lectins are found in such small quantities in most plants that they're not even, to me, they're negligible. I mean, they're not even, on my radar. Secondly, we cook them out. Cooking destroys lectins immediately. Anything in a can or anything in a package just typically has no lectins in it, or refers to raw food. And thirdly, the evidence against lectins being harmful for us, or for being harmful for us, is so small. It's not. In fact, I don't see any evidence that says lectins are harmful for us in the quantities that we consume them in our foods. In fact, I've seen benefits to these anti-nutrients. In fact, they act as antioxidants in our bodies. There's no reason why lectins or anything like that is bad for us, especially when we're eating a well-planned vegan diet.
But it can be bad. It would be like saying that you ate a small, like if you incidentally, got a small battery in your digestion system, that's enough to destroy your body. So like even that small amount can add up. And you need a lot of plants to eat to, get the nutrients.
There's just no evidence that lectins are killing us in our tomatoes. There's no evidence that tomatoes are killing us.
So how about there's like the lots of YouTube videos of vegans who like have turned back from because of the nutrients. They said they felt tired and stuff. So what's your thoughts on that?
We can point out people that go on the meat diet and they feel shitty. These are anecdotal claims. All you're saying is, oh, some people that were vegan did this. I can do the same with meat eating. Oh, some people that ate meat went back into veganism. Like, this makes no sense. What makes more sense is to look at the data and to look at the research. And the research shows that people that are on a well-planned vegan diet are perfectly healthy and fine, as long as you're getting all the nutrients you need. There's no reason to be concerned here.
So what does the diet of like the longest living humans, include like fish and stuff? So why does it not include just vegetables?
Well, first of all, the blue zones are 95% plant-based. Historically speaking, there's been no veganic cultures necessarily, but who cares? The point is that veganism is an ethical stance against cruelty. It's not about health. So I don't look at the blue zones and go, oh, they eat fish, so let me eat fish. No. Second of all, there's no evidence that fish makes you live longer versus vegan diets, 100% vegan diets. There's no evidence of that. But even if there was, I would still be vegan, because maybe a couple months to my life is not worth billions of animals being slaughtered and killed to me. Right? It's an ethical thing.
Okay, so if someone said you can only eat the thing that comes out of you now, would you eat that?
Only comes out of what?
If someone said you can only eat the thing that comes out of you when you use the bathroom, would you eat that?
I don't eat shit.
Okay, so that's how some people feel about the animal things. The difference is the nutrients.
Sir, the nutrients are quite sufficient in plant-based foods. You don't have to eat meat at all. I'm sorry, you just don't.
It goes right through the system. Then I gotta use the
Do you have a source that all the plants just go right through your system?
Let me get the source that it talks about that.
Yeah, thank you. Apparently, vegans, all the fruits and vegetables that I ate just went right through me. From my mouth right to my buttocks. Okay. How about this, Yiko? Come back when you're ready. We're not going to sit here and wait, okay? Come back when you have the source. Hello?
So I saw you were talking about like I guess like nutrition facts about like the vegan diet, and I was wondering if you've seen the nutritionist talking about they're called like Onika burgers.
No.
It's like this new type of like plant-based like substitute, and it's called Onika burgers. It has to do with like, I don't know, something about like she ate equals Onika burger.
Mm.
Must be eating vegan burger or something. I was going to say something else, but I don't want to get banned. Anyway. Spicy beans and Spanish rice. Yummy.
Love you, Mike. I do. I really
Do
do.
you have a question?
No, I just the last time we talked was like a year and a half ago. I've been following you for a long time. I just want to say every time you go live, it's always fun. I enjoy your lives. You're hilarious. I don't agree with you about the meat thing though, but
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Oh, well, today, what did I have? I had a couple black bean burgers that were really good. Super duper good. What else did I have today? I had lentil soup with some rice. Yesterday, I had some chipotle, some nice guac, lettuce. It was good. Why doesn't corn digest all the way? Well, we don't have the ability to digest, the fiber in the fiber you consume is not supposed to be digested by you. It's supposed to be broken down by the bacteria in your gut, and that's why fiber is incredibly important. It kind of moves your stomach muscles, so it moves the food down faster. It also helps feed your gut bacteria, which prevent disease. You want a healthy gut microbiome, and you need fiber to have a healthy gut. Fiber is incredibly important for us. Now, just because we can't digest, certain types of fibers, certain, strong cellulose, doesn't mean that we can't digest the other nutrients within the food. You got to eat more than that in a day, though. Oh yeah, well, I'm just saying, like that's just just a couple things I ate today. I always eat fruit every day. A big salad as well. How long have I been vegan? 6 years. Popcorn? Yeah, I like eating popcorn too as a snack. Olive oil, sea salt. Good. What made me go vegan? I don't want to harm animals. They don't have to be harmed. Are you LGBT? No. Buy some protein powder. Any other questions that you guys want to come on up and let's hear them. Mike, do I still defend the vegan teacher? Let's not talk about other people, right? I don't want to do that anymore. It's so toxic. What's the strongest argument you've heard against veganism? There is none. It don't exist. Veganism is better for not just the animals, but the environment, health, so many things. Do you think teleportation over vast distances will ever be possible? No. I don't know. But I will say that quantum entanglement has some strange implications. That one day it might be possible to do things that we never thought were possible. Not communication faster than light, but perhaps something else. Red bean paste on vegan toast. Yum. Yummy. They always get upset when they hear there isn't a strong argument against veganism. 10, very amusing. Hi, eat your veggies. How are you? Yeah. It's insane how people view vegans and how they act, in response to it. It's just insane. I eat red lentil pasta and red meat chicken. How do you feel? Well, it's not how I feel. It's, how do you feel about harming and abusing animals that didn't have to be harmed, right? We all say we love animals, right? We all say we love our dogs and cats. They're family to us. So why do you got to harm those other animals like pigs and chickens and cows? Why do you think you have the right to take their life away and abuse them when they didn't have to be? If you can extend moral consideration to the dogs that you love, why can't you do that to the cows and chickens and pigs that are equally as sentient, if not more? Plants don't have vitamin B12. Well, first of all, B12 does not come from meat or plants. It's not made by meat. It's made by bacteria in soil. And you can get it without meat. That's the point. B12 is found in mushrooms, nutritional yeast, tofu, fortified foods, all kinds of ways to get B12. They're already dead. Well, you're paying for them to be dead, right? It's just supply and demand.
Hi. I had a question about time travel, if that's okay.
Okay.
I understand that time travel into the future is possible, and I was thinking, say if I think I've heard this before, hence my brain's remembered it. Is if you can travel into the future, but you can have a portal, and then you have a portal that stays here, and a portal that goes with someone on a ship into the future, and then you can travel in between those two times. Would that indicate that you can travel into the past, but it's limited because you can't go back? Yeah.
You're talking about Kip Thorne's extreme thought experiment with wormholes and time dilation. You take a wormhole, you take two ends of a wormhole, you put one on Earth, keep it there. You take the other one, put it out in a rocket ship, goes close to the speed of light, experiences tons of time dilation. So you enter one side of the wormhole now, the other side, kind of like you're going back in time. And yes, it's very hypothetically possible, sure. And it kind of would be kind of would be time travel to the past. But then again, it's like you can't go further than when you produced the wormhole. You can't go further back in time than when you started the wormhole in the first place, right? So it kind of like doesn't. It's probably not possible to just press a button and go back in time to like 1800. It's probably not going to ever be possible because that's not how time works. But yes, there are loopholes within space-time that you can kind of make, right? With wormholes, you can kind of take advantage of some of those loopholes. So yes, it's very possible for that to be the case, although it'd be very impractical.
Yeah. I was wondering how I'm not quite sure where we are on the note of infinite energy. I was asking ChatGPT this the other day because I was quite interested in future time travel, and it said something along the lines of in about maybe 50 to 100 years is when we might come close to some form of infinite energy, depending on if we understand nuclear fusion well enough or not.
There's no such thing as infinite energy. I think what you're talking about is fusion, which produces stable fusion reactions that make energy, lots of energy from small amounts of matter and mass. But yeah, fusion I think is 20, 30 years away in terms of being it stable enough for use, like commercial use. Probably more though, probably 50 years, but yeah, could be wrong.
So if nothing can really come close to infinite energy, that means like how will we my God, can we travel into the future? Doesn't that require a tremendous amount of power?
No, look, traveling to the future only requires. In fact, it actually doesn't require any power. All you have to do is go near a black hole. You
Yeah,
can
there's that too.
you can go near a black hole for a couple of days. I mean, you'd have to be very close to the event horizon, but stay there, hang out there for a few months, depending on how large it is, and you come back to Earth. Earth might have aged, 1,000 years. You aged a couple months. So, I mean, this is a very impractical thing again, but it's very possible to do that without using any energy, or very little at least. So the point is that you don't need much energy to kind of utilize time dilation. Again, time dilation is not time travel to the future necessarily. People think that you just it's like Back to the Future kind of thing. That's not possible, right? Time travel meaning, taking advantage of those loopholes, kind of changing your perception of the now moment. That is possible, but not just pressing a button going to the future. That's never going to happen.
Okay. My last question before I go. What other books other than Brian Greene's one of your favorite books you mentioned on one of your videos? What other books would you recommend as a read?
Well, depending on your level, I mean, anything Brian Greene, anything Neil Tyson.
What
I
do you
like
mean
some
by
of
level?
Kaku's. What?
What do you mean by level?
Like how literate you are in physics.
Oh, okay, okay.
If you're a layman, Brian Greene's books, Neil Tyson's books, Kaku's books. I like some of his ideas, although he's getting a little out there. Sean Carroll, yeah, Sean Carroll's good. Tons of books out there. Hawking, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good sleep when you decide to.
Yeah, it's been a long day for me. That's why Blitz is still in here. How am I doing so far, Blitz? Am I doing a shit job? All right. What do you think is the most atheistic book? Probably something from Dawkins. Honestly, I've never read an atheist book. I've never read an atheist book. In fact, I don't really watch atheists. I don't like watch them. Everything I come to is basically in my own. I mean, their ideas, some of other people's ideas, like Dillahunty's ideas, and I probably get some of it from him, but I don't bathe in like atheist content all day. The Bible's the best atheist book. That's great. Yeah. Sam Harris. Yeah, I mean, he's all right. He's pretty cool, but his takes on morality are a little bit weird to me. In no way would I enjoy continuing this conversation with you. Forrest Valheim. Yeah, whatever his name is, Valk. I can't even pronounce it. Have I heard of Cliff Netchell? Oh, yeah, unfortunately. Human life is evolution contingency. Okay? You should believe God. Why? Thoughts on Carlos Rovelli? I love him. He's great. He's not a proponent of the many worlds, but I think he's I think he has some good ideas, really good ideas. Thoughts on me? I don't know you. Do I listen to any podcasts? I don't. I really don't consume content. I really don't consume content. Many worlds represent. Yeah, I tend to think that many worlds is the case. But yeah, there's some ideas I think that doesn't fully explain. Do you think aging will ever be able to be reversed? Yes, absolutely. Aging is just a malfunction of our cells. All you have to do is fix the function of the cells and you can stop aging. Now, it's easier, it's harder than it sounds, right? But the point is, hypothetically, it is possible. We've done it kind of in mice already. We've kind of actually reversed the age of their bodily organs, their eyes. We've actually reversed blindness in some mice. But the problem is that when we do this genetic therapy on them, they kind of develop cancer. So, yeah. Right now, we're pretty far away from it. There's also the immortal jellyfish. Well, it's not really immortal. There's no such thing as immortality, right? You can die. Like, it's not like you reverse aging and now you're invincible and now you can jump in front of cars and no. Don't jump off a cliff if you get this reverse aging stuff. The point is that those jellyfish are producing juvenile cells all the time. So the cells that are aging in their bodies, they decay faster than new ones are made. So the point is that new cells are constantly replacing the old ones, and they're juvenile cells. They're very healthy cells. It's a epigenetic phenomenon that allows them to produce these very young cells all the time. And if we can do that in humans, we can essentially stop aging. Do a Chump impression. Not right now. I'm way too tired. Did you ever make music? Yeah, a couple songs, but just for fun, right? Like, I'm a very creative person. I like to create music. I like to create videos. I like to create stuff. Thoughts on Alex O'Connor? We've talked a couple times. He's kind of stuck up. Do you think Donald Trump should receive the death penalty? No. I mean, although he's one of the worst people probably that have ever existed. No. I don't think anybody deserves a death penalty unless they did something terrible. Have I seen Oppenheimer? No, I have not. But there's lots of movies I want to see, though. I thought you were a Trump supporter? Hell no. Although I'm not a Biden supporter necessarily. I'm not a Trump supporter for sure. Honestly, I don't think any candidate is good for me. I don't like any candidate. But I think we have the obligation to vote for Biden because he's the least worst. He's the least of the worst. The least worst of the worst. Okay. Why does most people believe in religion? It's easy. It's convenient. It's comforting. It's fun to believe that there's somebody out there that cares about you. It's going to take the wheel for you. It's fun, but it's nonsense. Have I been to Scotland? I have not been to Scotland. Is that the right accent? Scotland. How old am I? 29. Would I go to Ecuador? Maybe. Bad. Don't lie, you're 19. I wish I was 19 again. I'd do so many things differently. I would do so many things differently. But then again, I had a lot of experience, a lot of lessons, a lot of learning. So it's a catch-22. You can't change the past. Thoughts on free will? Yeah, I don't think we have it. If you understand basic physics, you recognize that on the macro level, you can predict pretty much every atomic configuration. If you knew every single velocity, every single thing, every single value of a particular particle, you can determine where it will be in the future. It's ought to happen. So in that sense, it's a deterministic world, but also, I mean, take a look at relativity. Time doesn't pass in the first place, so there's no passing of time necessarily as well. So there's many different aspects you can look at it. There's also, we can look at neuroscience, and it shows us that your brain kind of is active like seconds before you're even conscious of making a decision. So with all these things together, right, we have a good case against free will. For all intents and purposes, it seems like we have free will. It seems like we're freely doing things, but we're not. It's an illusion. So whether or not we have free will, my life doesn't change. Everything stays the same. So to me, it's like, who cares? I don't even care about that question anymore. I listen to your old lives to sleep. Really? I was very much more abrasive back then, and I had to take a break and stop because I don't know. I feel like there was a more efficient way of being a debater. I think that I was a bit too abrasive back then. But at the same time, I do miss the attention sometimes. You know, I'm a thrill seeker. I love the thrill of debating, I love the heat. I like it. It's fun. But at the same time, there's an audience that needs to learn. So I kind of found a balance, you know. So I'm happy where I am right now. Do I think nuclear war is coming? I hope not. That's all I can say there. Mike, you made me atheist and vegan. Great, good for you. Do I do therapy? No, I don't. I don't have any illness. I don't have any nothing wrong with me. So I've been pretty lucky to have no illness ever. No medications, no nothing. He is the therapy. Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I do get sad, and sometimes I do wish I could have somebody listen to me, of course. But I kind of get through things on my own and deal with it. What about the space launch being delayed? What space launch? Artemis? Yeah, that's a bummer. You know, I wish there was more effort in space in NASA. I wish NASA had more of a budget. It's kind of a scam, honestly. How much they get? It's pennies. But SpaceX is pretty cool. I do like SpaceX. What they're doing is great. This guy again?
Yeah, sorry, I've been meaning to ask you something, and I've been quite scared to ask you because it's something personal about myself. And is it okay if I ask a question like this?
Okay.
First thing on my mind when I wake up is regret and doubt, and sometimes sadness, and it's mainly about being able to retain information. So, for example, about space and stuff, is it truly that simple that you just revise information to retain it?
Revise information to retain it. I don't know what that means. You mean like?
So do you constantly read the same things to be able to keep that information in your head?
No, I don't have that issue. To me, I'm a very visual learner. So if I have a diagram in front of me, especially graphics, things like that, I can get it. Once I know the picture, I get it in my mind very quickly. I don't have trouble learning things that way at all. So I've kind of been teaching myself lately, many things. But yeah, that's how I do it. Now you might be different, but so I don't know if I can help you there. But whatever works best for you, I would hone in on that. Hone in on your skills and the way you learn. I think that's what you should be doing, and that's what school doesn't do.
Yeah. I feel like I have an interest in too many things, and I'm pretty sure you might feel the same. Or am I wrong? Interest in like too many scientific fields, for example.
Well, the great thing about science is that it's all interconnected. it's all part of the same thing. In fact, if when you go to school, when you go to university, you'll know that any scientific degree incorporates all kinds of different subjects within science. I took biology classes as a geoscience major. I took biology classes, astronomy classes. I took chemistry classes, and all kinds of basics.
So how is computer science interconnected?
Well, computer science is not. It's more of a tech thing. It's not really a science subject, but
So they just slap science on it to sound cooler.
yeah, it's not hard science. It's more tech. But yeah, if you're interested in science, I would do something general like physics or whatever you're interested in. I don't know.
Yeah, physics, astronomy, cosmology. I love those. I love space. I have a telescope and I occasionally just look at the moon when I can. It takes me a while to get to it, to find it, but I find it after 2 hours.
Yeah, no, that's self-learning is the best. Teaching yourself is probably the best way to be taught.
How do you trust the thing, like the information that you read?
Well, there's always, verification. There's always, taking it with other people, other experts in the field. Go to your local university, talk to professors, network with people. But yeah, always make sure, the research I'm doing is peer reviewed and reliable.
Okay. Thank you. That kind of eases me a bit. All right.
Yeah, the universe is vast. There's lots of stuff to learn. It's overwhelming for everybody. Everybody's overwhelmed by by the universe. It's not just you. So
Okay.
you
All right.
just gotta hone in on what you like. How did I find Mike's account? You probably searched amazingly handsome, smart person, and you found me. Mike, if I ate meat, that's just determinism, correct? If that's not cause I choose to. Yeah, you're right. It's determined, so might as well just murder. No. Look, determinism, whether the universe is determined or we have free will, it has no bearing on our responsibilities, in my view. I think that's a secondary concern. I think the main concern is, look, what are your direct causes? What are you directly doing? And whether or not we have the freedom to choose that, I think that's irrelevant. What's relevant is, hey, do you have a direct causal relationship to the things you're doing? And that's the concern. So causation is true in both worlds, free will or deterministic. Do I plan on having a family? Yes, I do. I'm slowly changing my diet to become more vegan. Great. Do you have a girl? I don't think I have a girl. I don't own anybody. It's property. But yes, I'm in a relationship. Will you adopt children? Perhaps. It's okay to be an alpha male. There's no such thing as alpha. It's nonsense. How many push-ups can you do? I don't know. Ask your mom. The F is it alpha male? It's I don't know. How many books can you read? In what time frame? Given an infinite amount of time, I could read an infinite number of books. Given a day, maybe a quarter of a book. What did I major in? Geoscience. Bear or man? Your mom. Are you pro-life or pro-choice? I don't know what pro-life means. I don't know what pro-life means. Because all the pro-life people I talk to only care about life when it's in the womb. They don't care about it after it's in reality. So, yeah, I will say that I'm pro-choice. I care more about your choice to take care of your bodily autonomy than some clump of cells that doesn't have any sentience or consciousness. What is my take on Palestine? I don't know. It's a place. Who's smarter, Einstein or Tesla? Einstein, by far. Tesla was not necessarily a genius in the way that Einstein was, but he was a genius inventor for sure. I mean, in some ways, he was a good inventor. He had wacky ideas, but a lot of his ideas were shitty and bad and didn't work. And he was kind of childish in a way, but yes, he was still a smart inventor, good inventor. He thought outside the box, way outside of it. I mean, for God's sakes, he had a pet. He had a bird. He was in relationship with a bird. And every morning he would count his toes or something, or count numbers or something. I don't know. It was a bit weird. A bit strange. You finished finals? Yeah, years ago. 6 years ago when I graduated, yeah. Einstein or Archimedes? Ooh, that's a good one. Einstein. Newton or Einstein? Well, Newton is probably more had a more refined way of thinking. I mean, he invented calculus from scratch. It's pretty damn good. Einstein, he stood on the shoulders of giants from the past. But at the same time, he had a very good visual understanding of the world, enabling him to visualize relativity in his head that nobody else could. So both had pros and cons. I think they're very comparable. But in terms of just straight innovation, I think Newton wins out. But there were many bright people that took part in making science happen the way we know it today, making modern science. Many people that don't get enough credit. You know, it's the public that wants to make science, two-sided. The public wants there to be a battle and drama, but no, science is a long journey. Many people involved. All right, guys, it's way too late. I gotta go. What is my answer to the trolley problem? My ethics, my normative theory is kind of along the lines of a mixture, a hybrid between deontics and consequentialism. So I think that I hold to principles, don't murder. But look, if there is, more harm than good, consequentially, if you don't murder if this person doesn't die, for example, if there's 10 people that are about to die and you can save them all if just one person died, I think that might be a threshold that I go, wait a minute. Maybe we should save those 10 people, right? Maybe that person that died, maybe we can forget that principle for a second and, go ahead and kill that person. I think that might be a threshold, right? So I think that there's a very blurry line, and it's all contextual. It depends on the context, but it's a very complicated question. Because in the end of the day, ethics is all subjective. There is no objective way to view it, but I think most people align with what I'm saying. If we weigh the pros and cons and the consequences, and we kind of make decisions case to case. Threshold deontology. Yeah, I guess that you can say that. Have I ever had an Impossible Whopper? No, but I have had an Impossible Burger. It's probably the same thing, but I don't like Impossible. I like Beyond better. Beyond Burgers taste like the real thing, literally. It's incredibly... When I first took a bite of it, I was like, what? Is this real meat? It's that good. But I don't eat those kind of burgers anymore. That was when I was like a really early vegan. Now I eat lots of black bean burgers, veggie burgers. Your taste buds change over time, and you kind of adapt to the food you're eating. So to me, it's like I'd rather eat these burgers than any meat burger, actually. How long have I been vegan? For about 6 years. What a day. So much shit going on, but no time. How many kids do I want? I don't know. We'll ask her mom later. I'll ask her mom later. She'll tell me how much she wants. Okay. Have I ever lost a debate? No, never. Not one. Not one. Not nowhere. What if your kid becomes theist? I'll just move on. Like, what am I gonna do? Go, no, you better be an atheist. Like, that's gonna happen? Like, I'm gonna discipline them because they're a theist? No. What's gonna happen is I'm going to teach my kids, give them the information. I'm going to give them a Bible. I'm going to give them a Quran. I'm going to give them all the text, all the religious texts I can. But then I'm going to give them science. I'm going to show them what science means and how to use science, the method of science. They're going to decide for their own. But they're probably going to decide on science because they'll know the difference, right? They'll know the stark difference that science is so much more fruitful versus a book of mythology. And that's the proper way to do it. The proper way to do it is to teach your kids everything and then make them decide, but give them the proper tools to make the right decision. And that's how you're supposed to educate your kids. You're not supposed to raise them in a religion. I think that's very toxic. You're not supposed to tell them, you better be an atheist. No, I think that's both are toxic. The correct way is to teach your children as best as you can. That's our responsibility. As much as we want our kids to be like us, right? Believe what we believe. I think that's very, very asking. It's actually a sad way to live. Why can't you believe the Big Bang was orchestrated by God? Well, for many reasons. Number one, there's no need for an orchestrator. Number two, why would God need to have a Big Bang in the first place? Like, what would God need to bang? Like, there's nothing God needs to bang. He can just snap his fingers and we all just appear. Like, there wouldn't be no reason for God to have a Big Bang and billions of years of evolution and disease and starvation and volcanoes and asteroid impact. Like, none of that's necessary in my view. If God is real, he can do anything now. So the whole story behind cosmic evolution makes no sense to me under theism. If you're going to try to squeeze evolution into theism, I think that's just ridiculous. You're just trying to squeeze it in there. It shows. After a while, squeezing all that stuff into theism, it kind of just like wants to come out. Like it can't fit all that stuff. It can't remain consistent and fit all that baggage. There's a point, in other words, there's a point at which there's a conflict between science and religion. There's a conflict. You can't pick and choose what you want to be part of your book. You know. And by the way, the Big Bang is not the creation of the universe at all. It's not a creation. It's a phase. It's just perhaps another phase of the universe. What's your strongest argument for God not existing? Well, it depends on the God you believe, but typically the problem of evil, divine hiddenness, the lack of free will. I don't know. I'm tired. It is very late. But I haven't been able to sleep lately. Am I still vegan? Yes, I'm still vegan. Why are you up so late? Because me and your mom had a fight. Me and your mom had a fight. Anyway, I gotta go, guys. Have a good day. What time is it? I look sad. Well, it's been a rough week for me, for many reasons. Just a wild week we had. But it's been a ride. It's been a ride. I'll pray for you. Save your breath. Save your time. Don't pray. Just look, I know you're trying to do that as a kind gesture, but look, prayer doesn't do anything. I'm a doer, not a thinker or prayer person. I do things. Or at least that's how we should be doing it. We should be enacting things. We should not be thinking about it and hoping it gets better, hoping somebody else does it. I think we should be doing it. If prayer did work, would it convince you of God? Well, I mean, if I can sit there and pray for things like, oh, $1 million pops in my hand, right? Like cure cancer, it gets cured, right? And that happens consistently. Of course, that'd be evidence of something listening. Of course, that would be evidence of somebody listening or something happening. There's some weird thing. But it wouldn't necessarily be evidence of God. But it would be evidence of something fantastic happening. Right? There's definitely something to be to be concerned about. That modern science or naturalism cannot account for. But it still wouldn't be evidence of God necessarily. I think it would be the best evidence of God. Experiences and prayers would actually be, funnily enough, the best evidence for God. But the fact that they don't work, the fact that they're unfalsifiable, makes them the worst evidence. So, it's funny how that works. But it's funny because all the other shit is nonsense, right? All the kalam, the morality argument, all that shit is fluff. It's all garbage. Experience is what would be evidence of God, I think. But it's fruitless. It's unfalsifiable. Bruce Almighty was a good movie. I love that movie. I love Jim Carrey. Mike has the best response on life for all beings. What? What are you saying? Do I fear death? No. However, I do fear not living up to my fullest potential. Right? I fear most not doing what I can to help people, to change the world. I fear dying short and not fulfilling all the things I want to happen. That's what I fear more than death. So to me, my life is constantly battling against time to make things happen, to have an impact. I couldn't fear, I couldn't, nothing scares me more than not doing something impactful and helpful. That scares me more than anything. What a shame would it be if someone like us, human beings who can do amazing things, simply existed and were erased from history, never making an impact, never changing anything for the better. I think that is what I'm scared of. That's what drives me every day to keep going. That maybe we can do something that helps someone else and makes the world a better place. I was saying you care about things with sentience. Oh, okay. All right. Well, everything has life. I mean, plants are living, bacteria are living, but they're not sentient. So I guess that's why I was confused. How do I overcome sadness? You don't. It just takes time. Right? It just takes time. But also, I always look at the bigger picture. I always look back on the pale blue dot. that picture, I always look at it and go, all this shit, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be okay. You know, the cosmic perspective always beckons. It's always there, reminding us that, you know, our lives are very insignificant relative to everything else. So it gives you kind of a punch in the gut, telling you, wait, don't take things too seriously. You know, brighten up a bit, have some fun, because our lives are finite and rare. So that kind of cheers me up sometimes. But sadness is never, it's not something that you can just, you know, overcome so easily. It's hard. We're human beings, we're emotional. It just takes time sometimes. Then also, you know, I remember that picture also tells me to remember the fact that we're breathing. Holy shit, we're breathing, right? Oh my gosh, we're alive. We're experiencing things. That in itself is incredible. That brightens up my day when I remember that. When I remind myself that, hey, we're fucking alive. Okay. We're here. We're still breathing. We're still experiencing. And that makes me happy. Because no matter what's happening outside, we're fucking alive, right? There's just no words, right? Existence is literally the most mysterious thing. So the more you want to learn, the more you learn about it, the more mysterious it becomes, and the more you appreciate it, right? So that's why I always want to, that's why my message is always science. Because look, whenever you learn about the world around you, you begin to love it. You fall in love with it so much more. And that's the cosmic perspective. That's the true meaning of the scientific perspective. You know, it's really about falling in love with life, and everything in the universe. Because when you sit back and think about it, you begin to appreciate everything you have, everybody you know. It just hits you, right? When you sit back and think about where your place is in the universe, in the grand scheme of things, it hits you, and you begin to like appreciate things more. Whereas if you're caught up in all that stuff, right, all the small pettiness, the bickering and fighting, right, this Drake and Kendrick Lamar garbage, all that stuff, it's all petty nonsense. The bigger picture is we're fucking alive, guys, right? Like, when you're caught up in all that little shit, things look worse. Things, you don't appreciate things. That's, I think, largely correct. I think largely most people agree with me here that when you look at things from a bigger perspective, you appreciate the little things more. Because you know that when you know how big the universe is and how much we don't know about it, you begin to appreciate the little things we do know and have more. Because you for the first time you're realizing that, holy shit, we don't know much about it. Right? We don't know much about this universe, and you're reminded of that. It hits you like a bus when you look at the bigger picture. And that's what I try to do every day with my videos, every day, right? Try to push that picture out there. Because really, at the end of the day, that's what makes me a better person. It makes all of us a better people. It's perspective. It's all about perspective. Having a new perspective from the one that we're used to. We're all looking down. We're all, focused on money and our car and our house, how big our house is. But when you look up, that's when you see a different perspective that you didn't see before. So it's very, very, very powerful science. That's why I advocate for it. And when I debate about God, that's really what I'm trying to do as well, right? I'm trying to just want to squeeze that in there too, about the science, because, yeah, the philosophy is cute and all, but, I think the science is the most powerful message. Science is way more powerful than philosophy for many reasons. Science is fucking real, man. It's real. Like black holes and shit, that's real, right? Like, the philosopher can think about it, but the scientist can fucking observe it, right? They can fucking see it. They can touch it. They can poke it. A philosopher just thinks it and wishes it. Very stark difference, right? Very stark difference between science and philosophy. Yeah. Why not have both? Of course. No, of course. Both are, there's a dance between them both, of course. But the point is that at the end of the day, what's going to do the work is science, more than philosophy. Science is going to carry you further than philosophy can.